Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael Sandler, your host on Inspire Nation. If you've ever wanted to feel healthier, more rested, sharper of mind, and get a fantastic night's rest, then do we have the Sleep Smarter Show for you. Today I'll be talking with Shawn Stevenson, founder of the Model Health Show and author of the bestseller Sleep Smarter. And that's just what I want to talk with him about today, about essential strategies to sleep your way to a better body, better health, and bigger success. That, plus we'll talk about Madden football, why we want to sleep through the Melatonin show, why we want to bring cortisol back and David Hasselhoff, why it's not cool to wear shades, the hormonal Goodfellas, the power of the Big O, why position matters, and why you should beware the Midnight Strangler. So welcome to the show, Shawn. Are you ready to shine?
Yes, I am. Let's do this.
All right. Well, a mighty woohoo! And before we dive right into things, well, I guess I've got to ask, we were talking off air. It's kind of ironic. This week we have a launch of a new product. And so despite my best efforts, I have gotten the the latest night's sleep that I've gotten in a long time. And I felt really guilty because I had just read your book. So maybe we should start with, why'd you write this book and why are you trying to make sleep sexy?
Wow, it's such a great question. You know, and really one of the things that I'm working to do is to eliminate the stress around sleep, because that's one of the big things that gets a lot of people, you know. And so understanding that it's really not about trying to get more hours of sleep, which has been promoted in major media for many years. You know, you need to get 8 hours of sleep and you're good to go. It doesn't really work like that. You know, it's really the quality of sleep. And one of the things that I'm really pushing into culture is the fact that a lot of people today are aware of the fact that it's not about the calories that you're eating in your food. You know, you can eat 300 calories of broccoli and 300 calories of Twinkies, and it's going to impact your body radically different because of the hormonal impact. So a lot of people today are getting what I call Twinkie Sleep, where the quality of their sleep is radically compromised. And even if they're getting 8 hours of time unconscious on a mattress, they're waking up feeling like a wreck. And that's just not fair. That's not fair to the time invested in getting that sleep. And it's not fair to your life overall, your relationships, your success in your career, your health, because people are going to learn today that sleep is more impactful on your appearance and your health than diet and exercise combined. And it sounds crazy. I'm a clinical nutritionist, so I didn't even want to believe it. But the research is so thick, and you know it experientially. You know you feel like a dirty, holy sock when you don't get great sleep. You know, and so what we're doing today and focusing on with Sleep Smarter is helping people to optimize that quality of sleep. So that's why I felt it essential to write this book right now at this time when sleep is seen as a mortal enemy for a lot of people and something they're trying to avoid or get around. And even this culture of no sleep, hashtag sleep is for suckers. I'm a lollipop, you know, sleep is for suckers, because I'm winning at a high level and seeing a lot of other people doing this. And even the most hustle-based entrepreneur out there that's telling you they're hustling their face off, Gary Vaynerchuk comes to mind for a lot of people. I've literally sat down and talked with him, and he's like, I'm focusing on my health more and more because I'm playing the long game. I'm working. I've done that time where I was getting a lot of late nights, but I'm working to make sure that those are in the minority and not the majority, to get great sleep, to focus on his health. Eric Thomas, one of the top motivational speakers in the world, he had no idea that he was actually optimizing his sleep. He's getting up super early in the morning, like 3:30 in the morning, but he didn't know he's doing certain things that his sleep was better than nine out of 10 people. So that's really where I put the book together. I saw the impact in my life. I saw the impact with my patients, and I'm really excited to get the message out there.
I love it, and hopefully we'll learn today how to move past Twinkie Sleep. I know for ourselves, Jessica, my wife, she's the producer of the show. She had been sick for quite a while. It's actually why we're back living outside New York City now. We had been living in Maui for years, but she got really ill. And she was still not getting quality sleep until recently, when we ended up kicking out some more of the electronics from the bedroom, really decluttering. She started sleeping better. Then we got your book. We read your book, and we got these blackout curtains. And we set up the blackout curtains in the bedroom. And she told me this morning, thanks to you, I guess she didn't use the term Twinkie sleep, but she's getting, I guess, the highest nutrition sleep
Yes.
that she has ever gotten.
Yes, that's so powerful. I love that. And that's one of the things that I use, nutritious sleep, nutritious movement. But that's what you're seeing right there. And so here's a fascinating study. We're just going to go ahead and throw this out here. Cornell University did a study because it's like, what's the big deal with these blackout curtains? If you're in a more of a city environment or even the suburbs, if you live out in a place where you don't have neighbors right next to you with their porch lights, cars driving up and down the streets with their very advanced LEDs and street lights and things like that, if you live in an environment like that, it's not a problem. The issue is artificial light exposure. And so Cornell University did a study where the subject slept in a dark room. All right, they were in an otherwise dark room, but they just took a fiber optic cable, a fiber optic light cable, and that was the size of a quarter and put it behind the subject's knee. And that was enough to disrupt their body's hormonal secretions and to change their sleep pattern just from a light shining behind your knee.
And
That might,
I want to pause you for a sec because it's hitting me. That's not even their eyes. They're not. They
right.
could wear eye mask all they want. This is getting the skin on the back of the knee.
Exactly. Your skin reads, your skin can see essentially. And this is how your skin, for example, picks up sunlight and you can literally get a tan or it'll change that your complexion just by light exposure because your skin picks up light. They have what these are called photoreceptors. And so these are all throughout your body and they send signals to your brain and your organs telling you what time it is because we've only had this opportunity to have exposure to light in the evening, well, artificial light, for about just barely 100 years, all right? And this is against hundreds upon hundreds of thousands of years prior to that when we didn't have this exposure. And evolution takes time. And one of the things you mentioned earlier about Madden video games, that's what I was up doing when I was in college, when my health was just, when I hit rock bottom. You know, I was diagnosed with a so-called incurable spinal condition, degenerative bone disease, which long story short, I was able to reverse over the course of a couple of years of depression, weight gain, just being really in a bad place, but was able to completely reverse that condition. And I was up late at night playing Madden. You know, this was like 2000, 2001, where I was just getting the online video game going. Yeah. So I was up playing people in China and, you know, whatever. I don't know. It was amazing. But I felt horrible, you know, and it was shown on my skin. It was shown on my face, my body. But nobody really knew about the struggle I was having every night to sleep because of this pain. I was on pain medication, sleeping medication, and all of it gave me that Twinkie sleep. Again, it was pseudo sleep where it looked like I was getting great sleep because I was maybe sleeping for 8 hours, but the quality of my sleep was just horrendous.
And one of the things that fascinated me about that, when you say, you know, I may have been getting 8 hours, but one of the things that I really got out of your book, and I've gotten it from some Ayurvedic health experts like Dr. John Douillard as well, but it really struck home with your book, is that there's a time window where 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock, the second wind, I believe you call it, yep. Where really the body and the mind is doing housekeeping. In fact, there's the lymphatic system is going crazy, cleaning up the brain at that point. You miss that window, it's gone.
Yeah, exactly. You just mentioned something really powerful. So a big part of this whole show is going on in our brain, whether it's, you know, the whole idea of dreaming or what is determining what our thyroid is doing. All this is regulated by our hypothalamus. And your brain is incredibly important in this whole equation. And what science has recently discovered is that your lymphatic system, which is your extracellular kind of waste management system for the rest of your body, there's the blood-brain barrier. So how is your brain detoxifying itself? Because your brain is doing millions upon millions of processes every second. And there's a lot of metabolic waste buildup that need to get removed. And if this stuff doesn't get removed, what they found is that Alzheimer's disease is now been linked to an inability of the brain to detoxify itself. All right. So what they discovered is that during sleep, your glymphatic system, so they called it the glymphatic system because your glial cells help to control this, is 10 times more active than when you're awake. Right. 10 times is a lot. So basically, this is when it's really kicking on and doing all this housekeeping to keep your brain healthy. And if your brain isn't healthy, you can forget about the rest of you. You know, that's really what it's all about. So you just said there's a window, we call it the money time window. And depending on where you are, you know, how far you are from the equator, time of year, all that kind of stuff, it's going to vary a little bit. But generally, it's between the hours of about 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. is when science shows we get the most rejuvenating anabolic sleep. So the greatest amounts of human growth hormone secretion, melatonin, all that stuff is getting on its rhythm in a proper rhythm so that you could truly feel rejuvenated. And I said human growth hormone, that's one of the most important things for maintaining your lean body mass, for your energy, and for your appearance. Your skin is also impacted with human growth hormone. It's something it's quote the youth hormone, and you're getting the greatest amount of that secretion during that anabolic money time sleep.
It might explain, particularly when I'm in a creative period, which I guess is every day with the show, why I'm so neurotic about getting to bed earlier. Because if I get to bed earlier and if I get the same number of hours of sleep, but I get to bed earlier, I'm more a creative, awake, and alert, and able to be productive in the morning. Versus if I have to shift it for some reason and I get that same number of sleep, but it comes later, I feel like the description I use is a train or a truck ran over me.
Yes, that's a really good analogy, and a lot of people have experienced this. But why don't we go to sleep earlier is the question, and it's FOMO. All right, FOMO. This acronym FOMO, fear of missing out.
Oh my!
And so a lot of us have this energy second wind kick on when we're tired. It's like 7, 8 o'clock. Maybe you're driving home from work at 7 p.m. and you're yawning. You're like, I'm going to get to bed early tonight. I'm really feeling it. Then 10 o'clock rolls around and you're watching your favorite show and you're just like, I'm wired. And you literally, instead of us having an evening ritual like we did when we were kids, we're just like looking at our phone like, I really should get to bed because I'm going to be tired in the morning, and making ourselves get off of our device and then go right to sleep, and you see the results.
So let's talk about the most important thing here, and maybe we'll talk about your example in particular. We need to make a decision, don't we? It all comes down to that.
Absolutely. So that's really how I was able to transform my health was, a lot of people, whether it's losing weight, whether it's helping to reverse a condition, maybe somebody struggling with type 2 diabetes, adult onset diabetes that they know has been induced by their lifestyle, and they're on metformin or whatever the case may be. Or maybe it's a situation where, you're not in the employment that you want, or you haven't been putting the right effort into your business. So for a lot of us with all of these different issues, relationships, it's wishful thinking. I hope that this gets better. I hope I get around to it. I'll try. Someday I'll, we get that plane ticket to someday I'll, and we travel there, and you never actually get there. Whereas if you look at, and I'm a big student of lexicon, which I mentioned in the book. So the word decision is from the Latin de, meaning from, and caedere, which means to cut. So when you make a real decision about something, not wishful thinking, I'll try, I wish this happens, but you decide, you cut away the possibility of anything else but that thing. So I made the decision to get well. And not just that, my goal, I told myself, I'm going to be the healthiest person on the planet, and that's a big, lofty goal to shoot for, but I got really close. I'm very close to that. And that's really what we need to do. We need to make a decision about the thing that we want, a hard decision, and not this like, I hope this happens or I try. Hope is a great word. It's a great name for a person. Hope is a great name. But as far as a conceptual application, hope floats. We hear this. It's fleeting. But when you really decide on something, there is no other thing but that thing. And so that's what I did. And when it comes to sleep, I can have FOMO as well. I think that for many years, I really wasn't, into TV for a while because I was working on myself. But now Netflix and chill, it's the big thing. It's a big part of our lexicon, our cultural thing. And this is the golden age of TV. How to Get Away with Murder. Apparently, my wife just is like in love with this show. Daredevil, I'm a big superhero fan. Fantastic show. I could easily sit there probably and watch 10 episodes in a night but I like to feel good. That's the thing. I really enjoy feeling good. I really enjoy being sharp. I really enjoy being creative. I really enjoy being fit. And all those things matter more to me than Daredevil, which I can binge watch on the weekend or whatever. There's always time. But because of this fear of missing out, we don't step back and see the bigger picture. And that's really what we need to start doing as enlightened adults.
So let's talk about, you said specifically, I like to feel good. And that makes me think of serotonin. So I wonder if you could tell us about serotonin and the gut and what's going on here.
Fantastic. So serotonin is really today it's being noted as a really glorified kind of anti-depression neurotransmitter. All right. So a lot of, and I saw this in my clinic for many years, but a lot of antidepressant medications are SSRI, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. So essentially blocking the breakdown of serotonin in your system so it stays around longer. All right. Which is a great concept. But the question is, are you producing enough in the first place? Mm-hmm. Are you actually producing enough serotonin? And many people are shocked to find out that upwards of 95% of your body's serotonin is actually located in your gut. All right. We think of depression as being something in our brain, but we're a whole entity. If there's something going on with your toe, every cell in your body knows about it. Right. And shout out to Shaquille O'Neal, who had a big toe problem. He's got a big toe and he was out a bunch of games. It was like, it's just your toe, man. But if your toe is hurt, everything's hurt. Mm-hmm. Right. So understanding this, that our gut environment is critical to the production and to the efficacy of serotonin doing its job in our system. And so serotonin is also a precursor to melatonin. All right. So it's a precursor to this glorified sleep hormone that a lot of people are aware of. So if you're not optimally producing and synthesizing and utilizing serotonin the right way, guess what? Your melatonin is going to be thrown off. And if you're not producing melatonin, yet again, this is why there's this difference between this Twinkie sleep and optimal sleep. Melatonin is a big deal here, because if your melatonin levels are not where they need to be, you can be unconscious through fatigue, but you still won't get all of the anabolic benefits, recovery benefits, the brain benefits, even the fat loss benefits. All right, something I'm going to talk about in New York City when I'm there soon, and how melatonin actually relates to fat loss. So all of this stuff isn't going to be clicking if we don't optimize our serotonin production by taking care of our gut environment. So
which means that Twinkie really may hurt more than just your gut, but even your ability to sleep.
Exactly. That whole Twinkie analogy, if we actually eat that Twinkie, chances are we're going to wreck our sleep.
Which is wild, because you get that second wind around 10 o'clock at night, and every single one of us, I think universally at that point goes, I'm hungry. Yeah. I'm really, really, because your digestive fire is getting up, but it's actually doing that to clean you out at that point. And now instead you're gorging, you're going, give me the carbs.
Exactly. And also, so what the research shows, this is really fascinating, is that that example you just gave, mm-hmm. it's biologically just powerful. This is based on evolutionary biology. If you're up late, so they found that there was a 6% reduction in glucose reaching your brain, mm-hmm. which from an evolutionary standpoint, if glucose stops reaching your brain properly, this could mean death. You're not going to be as sharp to procure your food, to find shelter. So your body is going to compel you to eat something to get that energy back to your brain, because the majority of that, 14%, is that from your prefrontal cortex. That's the part of your brain responsible for decision-making, for social control. Mm-hmm. You start to lose that social control. So this is the situation where somebody's like, I know I'm supposed to be on this great diet. I'm eating this new vegetarian diet or paleo diet, but, I was up last night, it was 1 o'clock in the morning, and I had to go have the Haagen-Dazs was calling my name. And next thing you know, it's like all the guilt kicks in, and, but we don't attribute the fact that we're just tired. And I call this tungry, tired and hungry. Mm-hmm. All right. We're just hungry. And that's the cause of us falling off of our diet program. And Stanford University researchers found that when you're sleep deprived, also there's a reduction in leptin. So leptin is your body's satiety hormone. So you're also not going to feel satisfied. You're going to tend to eat more. It's where the whole concept with the potato chips, you can't eat just one. Yes. Yeah, you're not going to be satisfied. You're going to have to kill the whole bag or the whole box or the whole carton.
Case.
And, the case. Yeah, exactly.
So let's go from there, and let's talk about melatonin a bit and sunlight in the morning. I've done a lot of coaching of kids and adults with ADHD over the years. And I always told them, if you want to get things going, because they struggle a lot with getting to sleep, I said, we need to get you a walk once or twice a day at sunrise and at sunset to sync up with the natural clock of the earth. And you talk about the power of a morning sunlight walk. And can you tell us about that?
Sure, sure. So I cited a study in the book, which and the thing is, like, we know this experientially, but we find studies to affirm what we already know if you just are doing the thing. But the study found that individuals who get sunlight during the early part of the day have less cortisol secretion in the evening. All right. So getting more sunlight and exposure in the day is going to lower your cortisol at night. And why does this matter with melatonin? Well, cortisol and melatonin have an inverse relationship. So when cortisol is elevated, melatonin is suppressed. All right. When cortisol is down, melatonin is able to rise. So if your cortisol is high in the evening because you're doing some of the other things that can keep it elevated, guess what? You're not producing melatonin and you're going to get Twinkie sleep. So here's the thing. Getting that early morning sunlight, number one, that sets you up for a normal cortisol rhythm. So what we call is a cortisol reset. Mm-hmm. With exercise and sunlight combined, both of those things, you're getting a powerful cortisol reset. And your cortisol, and this is again based on evolutionary biology, is going to be elevated if it's normal between the hours of like 6 a.m. and 8 a.m. to its highest peak and then gradually decline through the day.
So let me pause you real briefly because it's something you mentioned in the book that people are unaware of. Cortisol has gotten a really bad rap. We want to get rid of cortisol, but it's not that we want cortisol gone. We just want it to cycle with us.
Right. It needs to be at the right time. Cortisol is not our enemy. Cortisol is one of the most important things for being alive, all right? It really helps us to get up and get going. If you're going to exercise, you need cortisol, cortisol especially, and it is tied to our fight or flight response as well. To be able to have that gusto, we need cortisol, but cortisol has been blamed for everything from, causing excess weight gain, for causing thyroid problems, for disrupting people's sleep. It's just getting all the blame, but it's not that cortisol is the bad guy. And I even talked about in the book that, cortisol is blamed for everything people can think of. It's canceling their favorite TV show, whatever, So, but the reality is cortisol is one of our good friends, but it's a misunderstood friend. Mm-hmm. So we just need to make sure that we're getting it optimized, a nice normal cortisol rhythm. If somebody can get that cortisol reset going by employing a couple of certain practices, it can be really helpful in getting great sleep at night.
Awesome. So I want to dive in a minute onto weight loss. I think that's an exciting topic, to say the least. But before we do that, maybe you can tell us what's wrong with big blue light. And I just got this thing based on your book, and I am loving it, I.Flux.
Yes. Okay, so this is really fascinating stuff. A lot of people are aware of the whole issue out there with blue light exposure. Even Apple on the latest update, where's my iPhone? So here we go. So I've got my iPhone right here. And one of their latest iOS updates, they implemented a new tool on your phone called Night Shift. Mm-hmm. And this device, it's on your toolbar, you push the button, and it pulls out this blue light from your screen. So what's the big deal with the blue light? Well, Harvard researchers confirmed that blue light suppresses the heck out of your melatonin. All right. So, and just to give it a little bit of an equation here, basically every hour of exposure to blue light from your devices is going to suppress your melatonin for 30 minutes. All right. So every hour of blue light exposure, 30 minutes of suppression. They found that not all light is actually created equal in how it impacts your melatonin. So blue light was found to be twice as suppressive to your melatonin and disruptive to your sleep cycle than green light. Right. They also found that red light was negligible in how it impacted your melatonin. It didn't really impact it at all. If you look at evolutionary biology again, if we were exposed to light in the evening, it was fire. And what are those colors? Reddish, orangish colors. So if we can just tap into that, and that's basically what this app does. The tool does, is it pulls that troublesome spectrum out and makes your screen more warm. It has a warmer appearance of orange. And so Flux is something you mentioned. So F.lux. People just go to Google F.lux. I've been using it for many years. It's for your laptop, desktop. Fantastic app. It's so easy to use, and it pulls those most troublesome, most suppressive to melatonin light from your screen automatically based on when it gets dark in your area based on the time of year. It does this automatically, easy to deactivate if you want to look at a design or something like that. You can turn it off, turn it right back on, and it will do wonders. I mean, I've had people before the birthing of my books and any of that stuff, just telling people about that app just transformed their whole world. You know, people that especially do work on the computer, tech people that would say, I had people come in, for example, into my clinic for migraines. And I find out, they're a graphic designer and they're working in the evening or whatever. And I just got them on that app and their migraines go away. So very powerful. It's free. All right. You could do that. But also the best thing, however, is to just give yourself a screen curfew. All right. I recommend 60 minutes. Just get yourself off of your device for 60 minutes before you go to bed. And you have to fill that space with something of greater equal value because you'll get the internet jitters and just, yeah.
Like reading a book.
like reading a physical book, for example, or connecting with your kids, your significant other, planning for your day tomorrow, going through your goals, do some journaling, whatever the case might be, playing some games. What happened to games? I remember we used to play Sorry and Life and things like that. Play some games, hang out, dim the lights. You could dim the lights a little bit. But those are some things to do to plug in to that place and give yourself a screen curfew.
Beautiful. Going along the lines of curfew, then, maybe we should talk about a caffeine curfew.
Awesome. Yeah. So I'm a fan of caffeine. All right. I'm a fan of caffeine. Actually, today haven't had any, but we'll just say maybe 4 or 5 days out of the week, I have some caffeine. And this could be in the form of caffeinated teas. Green tea is phenomenal. Black teas, pu'er. I'm a tea connoisseur. My wife is really into coffee. There's these wonderful mushroom coffees that we have. Then there's in supplements, things like that, green tea extract. But here's the thing. Caffeine is one of the most powerful legal substances out there.
Stimulants.
Right? Yes, it is a stimulant. It's a very powerful nervous system stimulant. So the source you get your caffeine from matters a lot too, but that's a whole nother conversation. Mm-hmm. So what researchers found was that even 6 hours out before bed was enough to cause 1 hour loss in your objective sleep measurement. So they was actually measuring these patients in the study with sleep monitors and measuring their sleep. And so these individuals who had caffeine 6 hours before bed, they thought they slept for 8 hours, but they actually got 7 hours of sleep, all right, because it disrupted their sleep quality. All right, so what's going on there? Well, again, it's a powerful nervous system stimulant. And this is all it has to do with something called adenosine, which I talk about in the book. I don't want to get too much into it, get too sciencey, but for the people who love science, there's a bunch of that in the book, but it's also presented in a way that makes sense. But adenosine is produced by your body when you just through normal daily activity. And it's buildup. It was thought to just be some metabolic waste that wasn't important. Science thought that for many years. But it's waste. You have receptors for adenosine that when you have enough of it, it starts to nudge your body to go to sleep. It tells you to calm down. Don't go and do another whatever. Don't go and do this. Don't just calm down, sit down, go to sleep. Caffeine has this interesting ability to fit into those receptor sites, all right, for adenosine. So your body can keep producing this stuff telling you should be tired, but you don't know. And so you can ignore it. And this is why caffeine can give you more energy. And it's just because it's not necessarily giving you more energy in some way. Well, in some ways it is. It's a complex thing talking about caffeine. But a big part of it is that it's just not letting you know that you're tired.
So going from there, let's talk about something that's fun that I look at is I get really cool in the evening. I get downright cold. And I'm like, oh, I'm really cold. I need to be under the covers now. If I actually go and warm myself up, I don't sleep well. And so I learned that it was actually getting cool. Your body's turning that thermostat down, and you can kind of boost your ability to get to sleep if you literally turn the thermostat down.
Yes, exactly. I think a lot of people experience this, but they haven't really put the pieces together. My wife, she has a very high sleep drive. Mm-hmm. All right. So she could sleep anytime, anywhere. But she found, and it's just, with all this research I've been in, if she gets immediately out of a hot shower and tries to go to bed, right, like out of shower, go to bed, she's kind of restless. She doesn't get to sleep for a while. And this is somebody who could fall asleep under like it could be like a carnival going on outside, and she could fall asleep, And well, that just has creepy clown images, whatever. Anyways, but so this is the thing is that your body, it's a process, it's called thermal regulation. There's a natural drop in your core body temperature to facilitate sleep in the evening. And there was some research done on insomniacs, and they found that 100% of the individuals with the chronic sleep issues, their thermal regulation was off and their core body temperature was too hot in the evening. So what we want to do is help to facilitate this by not making our body work so hard to try to cool off your environment. All right, this doesn't mean you can't use your blanket when you go to sleep. You can definitely snuggle up, but it's really mainly for our heads. This is why cool as the other side of the pillow is a thing. That cool pillow, when your pillow's all kind of warm and hot and kind of muggy,
And you
flip that
flip it
pillow over, whoo, it feels really nice. All right. And so what they did was they put cooling caps on the insomniacs in the study, and every one of them had improvement in their sleep quality. And some to the degree that they were no longer classified as having insomnia because they slept better than the control group who didn't have insomnia. All right, some of the people, simply by cooling off their head a little bit. So you want to make sure your environment is cool. All right, this doesn't mean you need to wear a cooling cap or put I don't know, a bag of ice over your head or something crazy like that, but just the environment. And so what the research shows is between 62 and 68 degrees Fahrenheit is ideal for facilitating optimal sleep.
I'm going to take a major leap in this one here because I'm connecting some dots. I just had on, in fact, our show went live today, Angela Hanscom. She wrote a book, Balanced and Barefoot, about getting kids out into nature and how much it helps childhood development. And she was talking about how in Finland and Sweden, they at daycare, what they will do is they'll have the kids bundle up, the babies bundle up well, but they'll have them take their nap time outside, even in the single degree Fahrenheit or even a little bit below zero. And they say that they keep them well bundled up, but they say that the kids sleep better. And so I'm drawing a conclusion here that I wonder if kids will sleep better through the night if we keep their room temperature turned down a little bit more as well.
Definitely. This is hands down. I mean, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard right there. But of course, it makes sense. But yes, the same thing is seen across the board with children. Nobody likes to be hot when they're sleeping. It's really uncomfortable. But also, again, that cooler environment facilitates the secretions of reparative enzymes, the hormones we've been talking about. This is all related to certain programs kick on when your circadian timing, core body temperature goes down, all these other things turn on.
One of the cool pieces of the puzzle that I've been noticing is I like to sleep cool. I like the air temperature cool. On the other hand, I do have on a bunch of blankets, but a strange quirk is that I like socks on my feet, even though I like to sleep cool. And to me, I think it has to do with the whole concept of I've got cold feet. She has cold feet. When you have cold feet, your nervous system goes up, your sympathetic goes up, and you talk about sleep cool but rock socks.
Yes, precisely. Yes. It's our appendages, our outer extremities that tend to get colder first and send that information to, that nervous system like, oh, it's too cold. All right. So just simply wearing a nice pair of warm socks. So same thing for my wife. She is naturally a cooler person. She tends to run cold. I'm a warmer person. I'm a warmer blooded person. And it just makes it's even as I'm saying that, it's like we're alligators and then like mammals or something. But some of us run, and this is Ayurvedic medicine. If you look at Ayurveda, and the different doshas, people tend to be cooler than other people. And this especially can be seen in the evening. So she just wears a warm pair of socks. And we both agreed on the fact that we sleep better when it's cooler in the room. But that took time because she was so like, no, you don't understand. Because for her, it's the getting up in the morning out into the cool. And so what I do is I get up in the morning and I get thermostat back up so she doesn't have any reason to not get out of the covers. And, she goes to sleep easily now just because she has some warm socks on. Smart.
So she's more Vata and you're a little bit more Pitta. Does that sound about right?
You got it.
Woohoo! So from there, let's talk about, and then I want to dive into weight loss. There's just too many good things here. But we have a lot of listeners that listen to our show, and I'm sure listen to your show as well, in the middle of the night. And there are heroes, and they're the people that keep everything running and take care of us. But what is the danger of the graveyard shift?
Wow. You said the word, the danger. I mean, this is seriously something that is very unsettling when you know about this and you look at the research. So the World Health Organization has come out and said that shift work, so working overnight, is a class 2A carcinogen. So I hope people didn't just gloss over what I just said, but essentially they discovered that, and well, not discovered, but confirmed with all of these different studies, international studies, all done around the world, that working overnight is a cancer-causing agent, can literally causes cancer. How is that even possible? Well, melatonin is quite possibly our most powerful endogenous anti-cancer hormone that we produce.
Hmm.
And if you're up at night and you're in artificial light, you're not producing optimal melatonin because you're out of sync with your circadian timing system. And so one of these most endogenous kind of protective things is gone. So that's one of the big things. And we could talk about 20 other things. Bottom line is this: we did not evolve. We all evolved with a very specific day and night cycle. And today we have the opportunity to basically manufacture a second daytime and ignore that. And not only does this show up in things like cancer, but also, this is what I cite in Sleep Smarter, greater incidence of police officers, for example, who work overnight, higher rates of heart disease, high cholesterol, obesity. There's a phenomenal nurses study that I cited in the book where we look at nurses who are in the health field,
Hmm.
individuals who are graced with the duty of taking care of us. We haven't been taking very good care of them as a society because we're not thinking about them and the fact that they have 30% greater incidence of breast cancer than the normal population. What? How? And also, we see in the particular studies, women who work overnight, nurses who work overnight, higher rates of breast cancer,
Hmm.
higher rates of obesity, higher rates of high blood pressure, high rates of heart disease and heart attacks, strokes, you name it. I could just, everything that you could think of, every negative thing that we're all in fear of today, higher rates of those things because they're working overnight. So what we have to do, and I put out my stance on it and my possible plan for shifting out of that, because what's so crazy is that it doesn't matter if you're doing that 5 days a week, 7 days a week. The nurses in the study who only, because I saw this as well. I mean, I worked at a university for many years, so I worked with a lot of nurses who just worked 3 nights out of the week and then 4 days normal. They had the same rates of all those diseases because it's throwing your circadian rhythm off every week over and over, back and forth is just as bad. So we need to have longer stints of allowing people to have a normal day night cycle. So maybe 10 months on, 2 months off, for example, I think would
Hmm.
be more advantageous for us as a population because we still need these jobs done. Like you said, protecting our society, taking care of our health, protecting our roads, things like that. These are critical things. If your mandate in life and your drive and your thrust is for service, then keep doing it. Stay on the shift that you are. But if this is something where you're like, I have to work this shift because of money, it's the only shift that I can get, stop lying to yourself. There's ample opportunity for you to change your employment and find rightful employment, but we have to get rid of that story that this is the only thing that you can do. If your health is your number one priority, then don't work overnight. If service is your number one priority, absolutely adhere to that. But please employ everything else that we've been talking about and more, all the strategies in the book. You need to stack conditions in your favor to do everything else right so that you can have that be a sustaining livelihood.
You just clicked on top of this topic. You just flipped another switch for me. When I'm thinking about my father, I'm thinking about my father in law, I'm thinking about so many other people who have high blood pressure and they're given prescription medication to help them control their blood pressure, who are staying up late at night watching movies or doing research or surfing the web on their iPad or on their television. And I never made the connection between melatonin production, high blood pressure, staying up late, and how that's all one Twinkie soup.
You just said it, man. So it doesn't have to be that somebody actually has a job that they're doing overnight, but just being up late doing the laptop lap dance like so many people are doing, watching TV. It's the same atmosphere they're creating. It's the same suppression. It's the same disease promoting behavior. This isn't like we're just being prudes. Like, this you should just get to bed, early to rise, Winnie the Pooh, that whole thing. this is Benjamin Franklin, by the way, is the one that came out with the quote, but it's also my son's Winnie the Pooh book. Shout out to Winnie the Pooh. But this is literally destroying our health. And it is what it is. It doesn't take away from fun. We could still have that occasional time where we're out late at a concert or a party, things like that. But we don't want that to be the norm. We can have that occasional time where we stay up late, watching a movie when the kids go to bed, but we don't want to make that the norm. And there are also things you could do to help to facilitate those moments. There's actually blue light blocking glasses you can wear, for example, in the evening. There's hacks for everything, but we also need to get more in alignment with what's real and natural so we can actually enjoy all the other hours of our lives and not just those couple of hours after the kids go to bed.
So let's talk from there. Let's dive into body fat. We've been joking about Twinkies, but it really is that, in a sense, if you don't get to sleep early, and maybe you can tell me, correct me if I'm wrong, your body treats almost anything you put in late at night as a Twinkie. And if your body is out of sync with the circadian rhythm, you're putting on fat.
Absolutely. It is what it is. Like I said at the beginning, people are going to learn that this is more impactful on your health and your appearance than diet and exercise combined. And I know we're coming up here on the close of the show, so this is really important information to just kind of really hammer everything home because we all want to look good. We all want to feel significant and feel attractive. And your sleep it's called beauty sleep for a reason. So here's first thing right out of the gate. You mentioned just kind of, it doesn't matter if you're eating late. So what was found is that and again, this was from Stanford University. They found that if you're up late at night, individuals who are sleep deprived are going to have a tendency on average to eat about 200 more 50 calories a day. Mm-hmm. And it's a natural drive because, again, your brain isn't running on optimal levels. So it's going to try to get you to compel you to eat some more stuff to get more nutrients to your brain because you're tired. So that's number one. Number two, University of Chicago did a study, fascinating study. And what they found was that they had individuals in the study to be on the same diet, exactly the same diet, counting calories, everything, all right? Same diet, 8.5 hours of sleep on one phase of the study. Same people, now, different phase of the study, sleep deprived them. So now they're getting 5.5 hours of sleep. Same diet, okay, no changes, no cutting more calories, no eating more. They ended up losing 55% more body fat when they got 8 hours of sleep, 8.5 hours of sleep, all right? More sleep equaled 55% greater loss in body fat, all right? While we're out there kicking our butt on a treadmill or a stair climber or taking like CrossFit classes twice a day, you can't get those kind of numbers, 55%. And I didn't say weight loss, body fat, actual fat. You can't get those kind of numbers. Anything short of like literally beating the crap out of yourself every day and being forced to maintain that. You'll have to keep doing that because your body will rebound from all that oppressive behavior. You get more benefit from simply getting more sleep. All right. Absolutely mind blowing. So why is that happening? Well, number one, earlier I mentioned HGH. It's a huge component, human growth hormone. Greatest secretion of that is happening during sleep, especially in that money time window. Also, melatonin has some interesting fat loss capabilities as well. Cortisol is fat promoting out the wazoo. All right. So again, it's misunderstood, but when it's produced too much, when it's produced at the wrong time, it can kick back for sure. So cortisol has this ability to do this process called gluconeogenesis, which is essentially to create sugar by breaking down your muscle tissue. All right. That's horrible because muscle is your body's fat burning machinery. So we do not want to lose our muscle. All of that comes together and there's more, the leptin impact. We talk about ghrelin, which we haven't talked about yet, but ghrelin is the hunger hormone. And the research shows that there's increases in ghrelin. So you're going to be more hungry and just have a tendency to eat more food, make poorer food choices. So all this summarizes to say that if you want to have the body that you truly, truly want and deserve for all the work you're doing with your exercise and your nutrition, sleep is really this key component. It's more powerful than both of them combined because this is when your body actually changes from all the good stuff you do during the day. So we want to put more focus on sleep and not skimp on it, and less attention on trying to beat ourselves to a pulp, doing power cleans and kipping pull-ups.
So a few quick questions before I jump into a brief wrap up. Perhaps the most fun question of them all I've got to ask. What about the big O?
All right. So the big O, this is talking about orgasms. And so there's really fascinating research. We know this again experientially, just it's even in popular culture that sex leads to sleeping, especially it's more so put out there for guys, but this is for both men and women. And so the research shows is very compelling. So number one, when you have orgasm, you're releasing a cocktail of chemicals, including oxytocin, vasopressin, prolactin. Prolactin has been found to, in one particular study I cited, when these laboratory animals, these mice were injected with prolactin, they immediately become sleepy. Immediately. All right. We produce this naturally within ourselves when we have an orgasm. So prolactin, serotonin, which we talked about earlier in relationship to sleep, all of these things your body gets washed over with that. So bottom line is this is a very, very healthy way. And it's even the name, sleeping together, came from somewhere, So yet another reason to enjoy that part of your life and to take advantage of it. I don't think we take advantage of it enough.
Perfect. And then benefits of meditation or breathing like a lion.
All right. Meditation. Wow. I mean, this was one of the most important parts of the book, I really feel, because we know about all the benefits with meditation, but a lot of people don't tie together its impact that it has on sleep quality. And so there were studies even cited by the National Sleep Foundation finding that meditation in the morning can help you to sleep better at night. And what meditation really is, it's a manual kind of brain training for manipulating your brain waves. That's what sleep is a change really in your brain waves, in your brain wave states. Your brain patterns in your brain waves. And so if you can get into a meditation practice, you start to learn how to change your brain waves instantly, going from beta, which we're all in right now, into theta and alpha, delta is that deep sleep. The very advanced meditators, they've been found to actually get into delta with their brain waves, which is crazy because they're asleep, but they're not. It's just bananas. But you can get some of those benefits from learning a meditation practice to basically take your mind and turn off all the noise, because a lot of people have a lot of inner chatter before they go to bed. And so getting into a consistent meditation practice can help a lot with that. Breathing it's a huge component of this, because a lot of us are chest breathers. We're not breathing using our full capacity. And simply taking a few deep breaths activates your parasympathetic nervous system, which is your, quote, rest and digest system. And it turns off your sympathetic fight or flight system just simply by taking a few deep breaths.
Awesome. Can you tell us the power real briefly, and then we'll do a wrap up here. Power of the earth or getting grounded?
Okay, so grounding. Yeah, so this is something I recommend everybody do as often as possible. Hopefully every day is get some vitamin G. All right, some ground. What's so fascinating is that, and I was this didn't add up for me at first until I looked at the literature, and it was shocked. It blew my mind. There's a whole book. It's called Earthing. And you can just, go to Dr. Google, find this book if you want to look more into it. But I cite important studies in the book. So basically getting your body connected to the diurnal patterns of the earth, just by you're very conductive, and the earth is brimming with free electrons. Just by touching your skin on the earth, you literally start to pull in these kind of antioxidant electron to basically put out fires. They attach to these free radicals. A lot of people know about free radicals today. So this is an inflammatory event going on, and it basically neutralizes those by you simply touching the ground. As far as sleep is concerned, they found that individuals who slept while having this earthing technology connected to their body, they had lower cortisol at night and normalized cortisol during the day. It's reset their cortisol. All right. And it was just fascinating to understand that. And by me touching the ground, and again, it sounds very kind of.
I've actually got a mat that I have my feet on my computer for at night. I've got that so I'm grounded. And for many years, I've slept with earthing sheets that have a silver fiber thread throughout in a crisscross, like a checkerboard pattern, that's actually plugged into my ground on my electrical outlet, so I can literally sleep grounded as well.
Yeah, I've been using grounding technology, earthing sheets.
Yep,
It's called
yep.
earthing sheets for, I'd say, easily 8 years now. I travel with them. I have a grounding mouse pad right here. I have a grounding
Awesome.
pad under my desk. The thing is about me, and people who know this, who listen to my show, everything that I do has a purpose. It's not just, oh, that sounds nice. I want to see the science. and I want to know that it works. And I do it because it works.
So Jessica always likes me to ask before the end, what advice would you give specifically for parents for their kids? Help them to sleep at night.
So this is a whole huge topic. I mean, we could do a whole show just on this. First, I'll just give one big takeaway here. And I did a whole show about this on my other show, The Good Dad Project. But your kids are going to generally follow your patterns. All right. And if you're not promoting or demonstrating healthy sleep hygiene and rituals, evening rituals, your kids are going to have a tendency to throw off theirs as well. But kids, for the most part, I mean, they're different phases. When they're newborns, it's a whole different ball game. But they're always looking for patterns, and we have to understand that our babies want to sleep. They crave that sleep, but they want the right conditions for them to feel good in that sleep. So we have to create those patterns and rituals to help to facilitate that. So my youngest son, who just turned 5 last week, he's been sleeping through the night since he was around 6 or 7 weeks old for about 10 hours. How?
Wow.
How is that even possible? Because I am who I am, and I'm coming into the situation knowing about this and these neural associations we can create for ourselves unknowingly, and that we can consciously create as well. So we have to create good neural associations for our child and rituals, and we have to do the same thing for ourselves, because again, they're going to have a tendency to pick up our patterns.
Awesome. Question we'd like to ask all our guests just before the end is, what personally brings you the greatest happiness, or what I call the woohoo factor?
So what can get them the greatest happiness?
What gives you the greatest happiness, or gives you the greatest woohoo?
Got it. I was compelled by the woohoo. It reminded me of this cartoon my son likes, this Teen Titans Go. There's a song that just says woohoo all through the song.
I'm gonna have to check it out.
For me, it really has to be learning. I love to learn. I'm addicted to learning. I'm passionate about learning. And whenever I come across something that just shifts my paradigm, I live for those moments, because I never want to be caught in a state where I think I know everything. That's a little terrifying, but the person that I believe myself to be, I could never fall into that pattern. Even if I do know something and somebody's telling me about it, I still am like a student and a child. I'm like, oh, I found a new way to hear it. So just really being a lifetime student is what really fills me up and gives me that feeling that you described.
I'll put it in there for you. Gives you that woohoo.
Woohoo!
Awesome.
Let's go.
So where can people go to get their own woohoo, to get your book Sleep Smarter, to find out more, and to find your amazing show?
Excellent. So Sleep Smarter, people can pick it up at sleepsmarterbook.com.
Mm-hmm.
And that way they'll get some bonuses along with the book. They get a whole 21 video series. There's 21 videos that goes along with each chapter of the book that they get as a bonus when they go to sleepsmarterbook.com to get the book. Or of course, you could pick it up anywhere: Amazon, Barnes & Noble, your favorite bookstore. There's a lot of independent bookstores that carry it as well. We just hit last week #1 in the US on audiobook, all right, which is just
awesome.
It blew my mind when I saw that. I couldn't even believe it. So the audiobook is available as well. And for my show, just look me up, themodelhealthshow.com. Last week we were #1 in the US, which I had a lot of #1 moments last week. But so The Model Health Show is my podcast. It's The Model Health Show. You can look me up anywhere that you listen to your podcast, or go to themodelhealthshow.com. But definitely head over to sleepsmarterbook.com. Is where you can pick up a copy.
Awesome. A huge congratulations. If you're driving down the road, you didn't catch those links, come on over to inspirenationshow.com. We'll get you over to Shawn and to his books, and especially to his free videos and show as well. Before I let you go, any last words of sleep wisdom you want to share with people?
We covered a lot. We definitely covered a lot today. But I just say that today is an opportunity to really shift your values to understanding how important our sleep is. This is the time where your body's going to get the most rejuvenating benefits from your exercise, assimilation, detoxification from all that good nutrition you're taking in. We have to stop skimping on our sleep. Put that as a priority. Understand it's sleeping smarter, not sleeping more, and it's going to open up a whole new world for you.
Well, thank you so much. This has been so much fun. And my sleep, thank you. Jessica's sleep, thank you. I think everybody's going to thank you because we're going to function better because of what we've read. So for everyone out there, this is Michael Sandler saying, be well, have fun, get sleep smarter, and make a hot date with sleep, and shine bright. Woohoo! Thank you so much.
Hey, it's totally my pleasure.
Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, be sure to like below. Also, leave your comments. Have some real fun with it. Subscribe to our channel where you're going to get more great videos, more interviews coming up. And check out our website, inspirenationshow.com. That's where you'll find tips, blogs, information, videos you won't find anywhere else, and useful and helpful resources to really help you kickstart your life and to shine bright. Thanks so much again. Thank you for your support. Like, comment, subscribe. See the website. Thanks so much and have fun. Of course, shine bright. Woohoo!